So today we have the fortune of having one of our own alums, Devashish, with us. He is now in Oracle, and I have very fond memories of Devashish. He was in November batch. Not only he was in the November batch, his whole house, his whole, I think, whole block was in S30 at that time. Asked really grilling questions, and one of the bar raiser students that we have at S30. He not only was a student, he was an interviewer as well at S30, and I was pushing him to be an instructor as well. All right, so the thing is that he was one of the sharp students at S30, and we didn't get any surprises that he's in Oracle right now. He was among the first ones to go over there. All right, so rather than me blabbering about Devashish, Devashish, if you can just briefly introduce yourself to the students about your background, where do you come from?
So hi everyone. So I came to US in fall 2018, and then like the whole 2 years were just preparing for internships and jobs, but it was fun solving leak code and stuff. Then for my internship, I interned in a small company in Fremont. It was a startup. After that, I joined S30 in, I think, November, and from there, with Jaspinder, we guys worked a lot, and then in February, I had my Oracle offer. And after that, it was very difficult to get interview calls only. So I stopped applying in, I think, April, and yeah, that's it.
So Devashish, your batch was one of the special ones because it was a COVID batch, right? And before S30, you might have had interviews. We want to listen to your experiences of of the tough struggles that you had, especially in the interviews. So you had a chance to, your roommate, he got into Amazon, he Amazon also, he was in Oracle also, you had also a lot of opportunities. So where all you struggled, and what were the learnings that you applied to Oracle interviews from that?
So the main thing which we guys were struggling was getting an interview call at that time.
Right.
It was very difficult to get an interview call. So everyone came up with some different strategies that how to get an interview call.
This is the speaker for rejection micro.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So we were struggling in getting interview calls. Then after some time, people were struggling, like when the, I think after February or March, people started struggling because there were many layoffs. So even after getting interview calls, the companies were getting candidates with experiences. So that was another pain point which new grads were facing at that time, that everyone had someone with experience. So even after clearing all the rounds, they were getting rejects, saying that they found someone with more experience.
Yeah, that happened. That happened, especially for the COVID batch. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so for getting interviews, everyone, Aryan had some good strategies. So he contacted many people through LinkedIn, and I think he gave most of the interview rounds. So I think that networking to LinkedIn helped them a lot in getting interview calls.
What was the technical aspect of it? What was the technical aspect of the struggles that you had? Did you have any struggles like at internship level or at any other levels?
So at internship level, since I was not, I was solving lead code, but I was not very much prepared at that time.
Right.
So I got like 3 or 4 final technical rounds, but I was not able to clear them because
yeah. Go ahead.
Because I was not technically strong and not confident at that time. But
how can, apart from designing S30, or the students who are now the students are coming early at SLU, they are coming pretty early. That even before, in the first semester they are coming. We keep doing our bit, but what will be the advices, or what will be the mentorship that you tend to give to the students who are just looking for, who are just getting into the new grad positions, or who are going to have this thing, who are going to appear for the internship? What are the good mentorship points?
One advice would be that be prepared before applying for the internship only. Like what we students do is we wait for the interview calls, and after that we start applying. Like in those 15 days, 20 days, we'll be preparing, grilling ourselves and preparing at that time. But not just S30, but just give mock interviews. Mock interviews help a lot.
Got it. That's what I say to the students. The earlier is, if you are starting at the time when you get an interview call, at that time you start preparing, 90% of the case you are going to.
And like most of the people are, I think Arihant is also here.
Arihant?
Yeah.
Arihant is having fun. Arihant, you are next week. Okay.
No, I think Devashish is like good presenter. I'm not.
Yeah, go ahead. You can jump in anything. Guys, just let me introduce Arihant. Also, Arihant is the roommate of Devashish from SDSU, and he's also in our account. He was in Nutanix also. He got into Nutanix also, but finally he joined Big Bucks. All right, go ahead, Devashish. Sorry.
So yeah, many students do this thing that after getting an interview call, they start preparing.
So prepare it much before and
yeah, like you should be prepared at any time. Like if you want to give an interview right now, you should be prepared to give an interview.
So you are, I remember your Oracle interview experience. You had 2 system design.
Yeah.
How did you, not only 3 back-to-back good data structures and algorithms, but 2 system design problems as well. So what was your, what I want to understand is, did your interview strategy change for Oracle, for Amazon, or for, let's say, Google, that you might be interviewing?
So to be very honest, I did not even know that they are going to ask me 2 system design interviews. I prepared for system design interviews before only. Mm-hmm. So they did not even mention that they are going to ask me system design interviews. Mm-hmm. So I think it did not change for Amazon also. My strategy was quite same only. Mm-hmm. Like solving the top 100 questions just 10 days before the interview, and last 2 days solving just Amazon interview questions, something like that, something similar to that. And for Oracle also, top 100 questions last 10 days, and last 2 days just Oracle questions, something like that for revision.
Got it. So can you get into the details of the Oracle interview specifically? If for the audience, I actually got an email from his recruiter that Devashish has killed. He said that Devashish was the best candidate that he had. And he said that, okay, we generally are apprehensive. This was his words. I don't know why somebody should doubt. He said that, generally from his school, we tend to be reserved. But Devashish was really great. So can you get into the details of that particular interview? Who was the first interviewer? What was the kind of question? How did you? The recruiter said that you were really confident and you were really on top of the things. So we want to learn from your experience. How did you manage to get into the top of the things under so much of pressure?
So yeah, so now also if someone asks me, many students call me before the interview that give us some tips, like 5 days before the tips. So the first thing which I say is be confident. Don't be overconfident, but be confident that if you know your things, if you know your basics, if you know if you are able to think about the logics and you are able to code about the logics, whatever you are thinking, then nothing will stop them from hiring you. So one thing is this: be confident. Second thing is be likable. Uh, this is like very important. Like many students are very good in technical aspects, but they show uh, some kind of behavioral aspects which the team does not like or the interviewer does not like. So they just flag it at that time. So be genuine, be likable, uh, and it is not necessary that you are coming up with a solution which is the best solution at that time. Just whatever you are thinking, if you are able to code that out and find the bugs and optimize it from there, they'll not stop you from hiring. So this was my approach. And since during the mock interviews, I was following this approach only, so I was pretty confident because like my 5 or 6 interviews before Oracle, I was always passing those mock interviews. So that gave me the confidence.
So those were the mock interviews at S30 that you were doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Last 5, 6 interviews, all I was scoring 9.5.
Got it. Were these the peer programming interviews, or was it like that they were Google is very famous for the asshole kind of interviews that okay they are very grilling, but how's the culture of interviewing at Oracle? Do they go easy, like they give you hints or not, or like Google up straight?
So in my interview, like it was not like there was no interview culture like that. It depends on the interviewer. So one interviewer was very lenient or very helping. One interviewer was not even smiling or not even saying anything. So there was no culture like that, but it basically depends on the interviewer. I feel.
And how many interviewers were lenient and how many interviewers were? Does that leniency mean anything in scoring?
So basically, that interview was a coding interview, and that interviewer was basically if I was coming up with some approaches, I did not know anything about that problem. It was a very new problem to me, and I was just brute forcing, coming up with different approaches. So he was listening to my approach, and then with me only was trying to find the things which were not going to work in that approach. So that was pushing me to try different approaches. So two interviewers were lenient, two were strict, and one was okay. Manager was okay.
What after the interview, when you knew that okay that you have an offer, what were the steps that you took for negotiating your offer, and how did you go about that process?
So basically, I had a talk with you only, and then other people who got into OCI, and uh, basically we discussed our offers, and then negotiated a little bit.
Some students, how did you overcome that it was your first offer, right? So a lot of students, when they are talking to me, they are saying that, okay, this is my first offer. Should I be negotiating? Should I be asking that kind of scenario? What was your experience? Were they receptive, or whether they were saying that, okay, you accept it or no, out?
So for me, like I took like some time. I did not take a lot of time in accepting the offer. I negotiated a little bit, but the thing is, since it was my first offer, I also hurried up a little bit. But it was a good thing at that time because I signed the offer on 12th March, and on 19th March they started freezing the offers.
They started freezing the offers. Oh,
yeah, because of it. So it was a good thing that I hurried up at that time. But yeah, it depends on time to time.
All right. You mentioned that one of the mistakes that you did in your interview preparation process was starting a bit late, right? You were not prepared for the interviews at the internship level. Probably you should have prepared at that time. what other mistakes that you think you did, not only in the interview preparation, but as a MS student?
As a MS student, so basically, I focused in the first 2 semesters. I focused a lot on grades,
Yeah,
and I should have focused on preparing more for interviews at that time. So in the first semester, I took very heavy courses.
got it.
So this is one of the mistakes.
So probably that boils down to this thing only, that you should have focused more on it, to be frank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. All right, I'm going to open the floor for the students' questions. Also, anybody who has questions can ask. Can unmute their mic and they can ask questions. I think Nitika is also here. She's also going to join Oracle now, or she has already joined, I think. All right, anybody, any questions? GB, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask him about how to contact managers of Oracle, because I've been trying to contact managers. I've also contacted his manager, but I don't get replies as expected.
So is Aryan there? Okay. So basically, contact. So my approach was, I never asked the manager that is there is an opening in your team or anything. I used to send my this GitHub.io profile and just used to ask for the feedback. That if you have any feedback for my profile, just let me know. So this is how I manage. I messaged my manager, and he responded that he has a opening, and are you open for a call or something like that.
Shantanu is asking, did you get a referral from any of the employees? No, he did a cold message to his recruiter. Yeah, is that what you did, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And luckily he responded. And I think so basically I did not have that manager in my networks also. Jaspinder posted a shout out to some students.
Yep.
That these students are ready for interview, and my name was not there also. But that manager commented on that shout out. So I just messaged him from there.
Yeah. I'll be giving more shout outs when January and February happens.
So basically be open, like managers are looking for like they have this hiring kind of thing on their LinkedIn. So don't hesitate in messaging.
All right. Hi Devashish, does anyone's past experience as database developer using Oracle work? So if somebody has a experience as a database developer in Oracle, does that work?
Basically, it helps you in getting the call if the recruiter likes it or if the hiring team likes it. But during the interview, I don't think so it will help.
All right. All right. Let's see what more questions. Anybody else? How did you prepare for system design?
So for system design, I went through that Grokking the System Design Interview book, and there were some YouTube videos by Gaurav Zain. I watched them, and in my SJSU also some courses were helpful in some of the concepts of system design. So basically that system design, Grokking the System Design Interview is a good source for preparing for system design interviews.
And based upon his feedback, after that we started a system design cohort. Yeah. And then we started doing the whole Grokking the System Design in, course, as well as then we added more into the system design cohort. So that is more very much organized right now. But at that time you didn't have any system design.
After that, yeah, it started after my interview.
After your interviews, that's why I was, very, very curious about testing that you tend to do system design interviews as well. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Hello, Jaspinder.
Yep. Go ahead, Sai.
So what I've heard is that the internship recruitment starts as soon as from July. So I would like to ask, as someone who has got 6 months of time before joining into the master's course,
how should I improve my profile in these 6 months, and how should I plan those 2 years, like so that I can get into internship and I can get into full time.
So basically, what you are talking about is how to improve your profile so that you get an interview call. Am I right?
Yeah.
So for that, keep on doing projects. Like even keep on doing some projects on and adding those things on your resume. Don't just do those simple Coursera or Udemy courses and add, because those are very general, and I think those projects that do not count. But something different or some open source kind of projects. And
Can you give specific examples? You did which course projects, so that others can copy.
So for me, one of the things is projects was okay. Projects in my resume, I have my college projects, majorly my SCSU projects. But I feel that every student has those projects, similar kind of projects. So the things that can keep you out is some open source work. And so with my projects were okay. So coming a step back, for my internship resume, I had mostly data science projects. Okay. After joining SRT and reviewing my resume with the instructors here, they told me to remove the data science projects and add some backend related projects in my resume. So it does matter that what kind of projects are there in your resume. So this is one thing, and backend may be what kind of, so basically I framed my data science projects in such a way that they look like backend projects. So I did not create new projects, but I showed the backend side of that projects in my resume.
So you laid more emphasis on the backend part of those projects, and when you were talking about the stories about the project, then you try to try to give out a message that was more towards backend rather than data science.
Yeah. So for my batch, this was one of the things that only like 0.1 or 1% student got into data science. Like I am a data science specialist, but my whole batch is in backend or like software roles.
So quick tips so if we have to summarize this conversation side, you can focus on some open source projects and focus on the projects which are more related to the kind of jobs that you are going to, right? So if you're, and let me be very, very specific, data science doesn't have much jobs, and even if they have, they are very, very for the experienced candidates. So rather than focusing on, even if your long-term goal is to go into data science or ML, for now focus on having core software engineering kind of projects. Not the cliche, everybody does employee HR system kind of projects. Those are very, very cliche. One of the good things is that you will be able to see what others have done in aesthetic. So take cues from that. Don't have some similar kind of things. Have a kind of project which is in depth. Maybe real users. If you have real users, that is amazing. Either go for an open source project. Does that answer your question, Sai?
And to add on to that, in your resume, don't just write about your projects. I remember in my feedback, Jaspinder wrote that this is a good resume and it's written by your heart or something like that. In the feedback, he wrote that this is so like explain the projects that you really enjoyed doing them in such a way in your resume, so that the recruiter also understands. And
so I have done some work on Angular and React. So my plan is to be a full stack developer. So how should I, when I apply to interviews, I want to project that I'm a full stack developer. So how should I build my GitHub profile like?
For full stack also, like it's not like I'm not 100% correct, but my suggestion is to break it into front end and back end kind of resume. But that's my suggestion. It's
Okay.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
yeah.
All right. Let's take a question from the chat. Does Oracle send a call for new grad OCA if we apply through their site, or should we reach to? What's the better strategy? Applying on site or directly going to the manager?
Would say both. There is no better strategy. Apply to as many positions as you can and reach out to as many managers you can.
All right, so do both of them. Snail's question is a little bit nice. So a couple of hiring managers reached out to me on LinkedIn and didn't respond back even after multiple follow-ups. So Snail, you're saying that the hiring managers reached out to you, but once you responded, they didn't reply back. Is that correct?
Yes, Jasminder.
All right. So what to do in that kind of scenario? How much you stock?
I would say the best way is to keep on following up, and like you are not losing anything. Even if you like send him 1,000 messages, nothing is going bad on your end.
I disagree a little bit. I think just to have that bridge going on. So you follow up a couple of times. Surely you need to follow up a couple of times. But after that, sometimes, for example, your manager, he is not recruiting right now. You keep sending him messages, he will not.
Yeah.
So the thing is, follow up, but follow up after break. What happens as students, we are desperate for jobs. Everybody is just desperate for jobs, and they are thinking that, okay, maybe 4 or 5 emails in a week. That is not a good strategy. The good strategy is just follow up, give them a break for, let's say, 1 week, then next follow up after a couple of weeks. Then after that, probably, you do it after a couple of months. But I take Devashish's point that okay, you follow up, but follow up after some time, maybe, and keep following up for 2-3 times a week. Following up means that you need or you want this role. Neither if you don't follow up, then they think that it's not interested.
It depends on this thing also, that how much time you have and how bad is the situation. Like sometimes situation is really bad. Some of my friends had like they didn't have much time and they were still in the market and searching for a job. So at that time, I think I don't know, because you have to be crazy at that time. You have to contact people, you have to network. So at that time, don't think. But yeah, if you have time and if you have offers, then.
All right. What else? Anybody else? Any other questions? Anything that we missed, Devashish, that you want to highlight? How Seattle, like, how's Seattle, and what are the good things to do in the first week or first month as a joining in Oracle? We have a lot of students who are going to that right now.
So Seattle is gloomy. Always raining here, and first month would be nice, and it would be chill. After that, it becomes a little bit.
Give us specifics that okay, how you can, as a new engineer at Oracle, what all steps you should do, or what they make you do in the initial training period.
So as an IC2, when we are joining, so basically they expect us to complete all the tasks which have been assigned to us. But what students do is they just complete the task and they don't understand the basics of or the services, how they are working. So in my team, we have a very complicated architecture. So if they'll give me task on some small part of some service, I'll just do it. And it's for IC2, they won't ask me to understand how that service is working, but they'll just tell me to complete the task. But while the promotions are happening, at that time they'll see how much I know about a team or the architecture of that. So in the first 2-3 months, keep on asking question about. No one will tell you that ask these questions or how the services work. There was zero KT sessions for me. They just assigned me task, and then I was randomly contacting people and understanding. So ask as many things you want to ask about your team or your services, and like don't hesitate in that till the time you have good understanding.
So you are also working remote from Seattle, right?
Yep. And remote joining is a little bit bad because we are not seeing anyone, and we have to schedule Zoom meeting for every question we have. So, but yeah, that's how it is going right now.
All right. Good luck with that. All right. How many That's not a good question. All right, we can skip that question. He's a guitar player. So anybody who wants. All right. All right, guys. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Devashish, for sharing your experiences. And if anybody is coming in from S30 in Oracle, how can they contact you?
Yeah, whenever a student messages me on LinkedIn that they are an S30 student and they need a referral, I make sure that I refer them. And sometimes some of the students are like they graduated in summer or for last spring, so I give the recruit manager's name also. I shouldn't do it, but I do it because yeah. So just message me on LinkedIn that you are an SPC student, and I'll refer you on the weekends. I generally refer on the weekends.
Got it. But you know, a word of caution over there. Just look at the ratings in S30. Not every S30, they are not keeping their ratings, and they are not regular. Then you'll come to know from their ratings. You already have access to that as an item. All right. So just keep an eye on this thing. We don't want to go for 30 referrals a week. Probably go for 2-3 referrals, but strong referrals of strong students. Maybe that will.
Yeah. That is correct.
All right. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Devashish. You look amazing and keep on doing the great work. And probably we'll have in one of the sessions with you when you go to Google as well.
Sure. Soon.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Have fun.